talking about our offensive line, our culture, and our training, so when we start, our cycle obviously kind of starts in the winter, right? We finish playing hopefully later into the fall. We then, do off-season. And when we start transitioning from hardcore off-season into spring football, later in the winter, early in the spring, we'll start having position meetings and things of that nature. And I did this high school football, college football, whatever it is. I will have each player in the room. Generally, I'll start older, and then I'll work my way down. Or I'll start. But I'll start, and then I'll have older guys, and then we'll work our way down in age. Stand up in front of the group and give a 60-second introduction. Talk about yourself, talk about your family, talk about your hobbies. What do you like to do? It's offensive lineman, so oftentimes, what do you like to eat? What's your favorite food? Whatever it may be. But I make them go up there for 60 seconds, and I start it, and I go up there for about 2 minutes to kind of set the tempo and be like, look, I'll do it. You guys can do it. It's obviously uncomfortable for a lot of guys standing up there in front of their peers, public type speaking, but I think it's great to kind of start bringing us together as a group. I think the offensive line room should be the closest knit group in the entire team. I think it's the most special group in the entire team as far as individuals coming together as a unit and what we have to do on the field. I think off the field it should reflect that. This is a step in that process. So we do those intros. We start each meeting early in the process with those intros. And then throughout the year, we'll also start each meeting with the joke of the day. Generally, like I said, we'll start older guys and then we'll work our way down the age chart. That guy will get up front. I try to tell him ahead of time, do his research and tell a joke to kind of start off our meeting just to give everybody an opportunity to put each other in a good mood, have fun, things like that. Talking about our meeting room. To me, and I think this quote is on one of the later slides, but to me, the offensive line room should be the best learning environment on the whole campus, right? It should be a classroom type environment, right? But it should be the best classroom environment in the entire campus. Guys should have their feet on the ground. Guys should have chairs. We work really hard wherever I've been to make sure we have the right stuff, whether it's writing utensils and extra notepads in the meeting room, making sure we actually have chairs, things of that nature, because I think all that matters. In that meeting room, we sit in depth chart order, right? So the first meeting, I will have a, perceived or opening depth chart, and we will sit first left tackle on the front left, first left guard next to him, first center next to him, right guard, right tackle. Behind them is the second group. Behind them would be the third group. Behind them would be the fourth or the JV or however you're doing it, right? I think it's important for multiple reasons. It keeps your better players, your more, viable guys that are going to play the most for you. They're front and center. So some of those guys naturally do that. Some of those guys don't. Now they have to be. They don't have a choice. And you're not a bad guy by yelling at him to get in the front. It's just how we do it. Okay. In addition to now they're sitting next to the guy that they're going to play next to. So you get used to talking to that guy while you're watching video. Like, hey, if we see this, make sure we do this. Now you're talking with that guy and you're not yelling across the room. Or worse, not talking at all to that guy off the field. Now you get used to that. It also gives guys something to strive for. Hey, I started the year in the third line. I want to get up to the first line. My goal as a senior is I want to be in the front, right? It gives guys something to strive for in addition to all the other positives. Off-season offensive line drills, this could be a whole own clinic on its own, I believe. At least a couple times a week, even in those early, January, early phases of off-season, we will do our lift, do our whatever workout. Head coach will talk to the program. All right, ready, break, go shower, get ready for class. I will have my guys come to me and we'll spend 3 to 5 minutes doing a brief offensive line drill, normally in the weight room, before we're done. The idea is now we are stacking offensive line skills, stacking offensive line days in January and February and March and in April before we put the pads on in May and we do spring ball. But the thought is we are now ahead of people that don't put on offensive line type things until it's April or May, right? We're stacking those days. It's not 20 minutes, right? It's not ridiculous. I try to keep it in 3 to 5 minutes, keep it brief. The first couple ones are stance progression, right? We start basic day one stuff and we build from there. Or even things that we need to problem solve, like, hey, we are consistently having issues with this. Let's spend some time in the offseason, write that note down, or whatever it may be. There's a core list of things that we'll go to. We'll go to a stance progression. We'll go our one step at a time, run game blocking progression. We'll do our pass pro posture, all low impact, low paced things that are meant to build, building block level skills. And then we'll also work, daily individual drills that we'll do all the way through December once we get into the season, where it's just, base run game footwork, base pass sets, all those things. I think those are huge. I think they've really, really helped us throughout my career of developing offensive linemen. And I tell the guys all the time, I tell these guys this all the time, most of these drills, or at least a lot of these drills that we do, you can do on your own, in your house, in your front yard, in your backyard, in your garage, right? You can do O-line stuff all the time. You don't become a great O-lineman by doing it just 3 times a week in the fall, right? You don't become that next level offensive lineman, whatever that is for you, just by doing that small amount that we get with you. All right, so I'm doing these drills that you can do in the middle of our weight room in January. You can do those in your living room for 10 minutes on a Sunday as well, right?